Hi, I'm the Gadget Guru Andy Parr, and you're watching TheVog.net. I'm here at Inglis Cycle in London, Ontario, Canada, and here with me is Victorious, and it's time to do a VOG member spotlight. Now, first, do you live in this area?
I'm about 3.5 hours from here.
Okay, what town is that?
Innisfil.
Okay, now one thing, and I'm always amazed when I come into Canada, because remember, I'm from Florida, where, writing there is good about 8 months a year. But you guys, how many months a year do you get of good riding?
This year's been good. We started in March. So
that's unusual, though.
Yeah, and last year rode right into the end of November.
Okay, so you get quite a bit of good riding time here.
Yes, we do.
Now, I noticed you have a 2011 Vision. Does a bike like this help extend your riding time up here with all the protection and heated seats and grips and all the bells and whistles?
The heated seats and the grips are certainly nice in the early spring and fall for sure.
So you use that feature a lot?
In the spring and fall, yeah.
Okay. Now, is this your first bike, or what's your riding history?
Well, I started with a Triumph Trident back in the day, and since then I've had a few Hondas, then took a few years off, and then was looking at a Harley Ultra Glide and ended up with the Vision.
How did, when you're weighing the Harley Ultra Glide, or just say Harley versus Victory, what teetered in the favor of Victory when it came to going after your wallet?
The price to a large degree. I thought I was getting more value for my money with the Vision, and the reviews on the Vision were really good.
How about the styling? Did you like the more futuristic styling versus the classic or traditional?
I still wrestle with the styling. I convinced myself that I like it, but I'm not sure.
Now, have you ever ridden your bike without the trunk?
Not yet, but that might be coming.
Okay. Now, do you typically ride solo, or do you have a passenger that goes along?
Rode with my wife a lot last year. This year I'm riding pretty much by myself, but hopefully that'll change soon.
And how many miles have you put on her so far?
20,000 kilometers as of last year. Right now I think I'm up to 27,000.
What kind of mods have you done to this point?
Nothing. It's all stock.
And it's amazing, and it's funny, when I talk to riders of various bikes, various manufacturers, the Vision seems like the one bike that people perform the fewest mods on, if any. I mean, how do you look at that?
I think that if it works, why fix it? If it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm concerned about doing mods and the mods causing problems. I might put some chrome on it in the future, but I don't have any major plans for it other than that.
What do you think of the ride? Like, if somebody else is looking at this right now and they're saying, hey, that's a gorgeous bike, I might consider that. What advice would you give to somebody who's looking at a Vision?
Ride it and see how you like it.
Do you think in a test ride that can give you enough of a feeling on whether or not to pull the trigger and spend the money?
I guess so. I bought my Vision without ever riding one at all.
Really? You just looked at it and said, that's mine?
Just did the research online throughout the winter, and in the spring did a deal.
Okay, the factory's listening right now. If the factory could change one thing about your bike to make it more comfortable or a more pleasant experience for you, what would it be?
The fit and finish on the bike. If you compare this to a Harley, little things, it just isn't done really.
Do you think it's like the quality of the paint or the amount of clear coat they put on here?
Quality of the paint, the way the parts fit together, just little things that they're ignoring that they should be taken care of.
But you think for a most part that Victory has done a good job?
I think the motors are great. It runs good. I've had no problems with it. Haven't had to do anything except change tires.
Now, your bike goes through, or any Canadian bike, or people who live in northern United States, goes through some pretty strong temperature extremes. When you store it for the winter, it's at well below zero temperatures for it can be, I assume, months at a time. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you come out and winter or de-winterize it, get ready for spring riding, how does the motor hold up to that in the transition of going from storage to back on the road?
Well, it's fine. Put fuel stabilizer in the fall, and in the spring all I did was take the battery charger off and start it up.
Do you have to do anything with the tires to make sure they don't flat out or bottom out on you?
Just monitor them and make sure that the pressure's on the tires. And I have the bike sitting on a carpet in the garage, so that's it.
Okay, now, one thing that I've heard people say about the Vision, and I don't necessarily agree with them, I'm just repeating what other people have said, that they don't like the mirrors there. They'd rather have something higher. They think that they can see some of their fingertips or knuckles in there. How does this work for you?
They're fine. No problem at all. It took a little bit of getting used to, but they're fine. I don't have any problems. Sure, I can see my hands a little bit, but you just peek around and you can see back.
I'm glad you said that, because when I had mine, I was reading the reviews, and the reviewers were all over it. Like that was the biggest thing they could pick on. You could see part of your knuckle. One thing that I noticed, and I've told all the riders, that yeah, that is correct. But if you look around that, you get what seemed to me a much wider field of view of what I had on my previous bikes. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the mirrors at all.
So how long are you going to keep her for?
Don't know. We'll see.
Is there something special you're waiting for to come next, or are you the type? Do you like to change your bikes around, or are you going to hold on? You like to hold on for the long term?
I think I'll probably hang on to this unless something comes along that's extra special, I suppose.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this is a touchy subject or not. Did you buy your bike in Canada or the United States?
United States.
Is there? I'm to understand that there's some major negatives when you do that. What is the negative? I mean, I realize you're saving money on price. I don't know why, because of the dollar, the Canadian dollar and the U.S. dollar are pretty much on par or level with each other. What's the positives and negatives of doing that?
I guess the negative would be if you had any problems with the bike on warranty, you'd have to take it down to the States to do it. But I saved enough money that I felt if there was a problem with it, taking it across the border isn't that big of a deal. You hook it up, put it on a trailer, and take it over.
So to make sure I understand it, even though this is a victory that came out of Spirit Lake, Iowa, because you are a Canadian resident and you purchased it in the United States, that the dealers here cannot, I mean, they can perform your regular service and you pay them, but they cannot perform warranty service that is reimbursed by the manufacturer. Is that correct?
That's right.
Why do you think that is?
I guess it's to protect the Canadian dealers.
Well, does it ever work in reverse, where somebody from the United States can buy a bike in Canada and bring it down, or it just doesn't make sense?
I'm not sure why they'd want to.
Well, I assume that's on the point that prices are higher in Canada. Is that because of duty, or is that political, or is that just some sort of business thing I haven't thought of yet?
Has nothing to do with duty. The bikes are made in the United States, so there's no duty on anything made in the United States. It's under the free trade agreement. There's no duty, so it's just markup. And again, I know it's a touchy subject. I'm not trying to, go out to the factory, but I've always found that very strange. I do understand that a manufacturer does want to try to protect the territorial rights of the dealers, and well, so I mean, the dealers are investing good money to have the bikes available for riders who want to buy them and perform good service. But I just never understood that. You being a person who did train and ship your bike over, or purchase and ship, what's your opinion of that? It's unfortunate you have to do that, but it just made an awful lot of sense for me personally. I'm not recommending other people do it, it's up to them. But I saved about $6,000 doing it that way, so if it means I have to go into my pocket for a few things here and there, I'm still ahead of the game.
When you go in for just, I'm sure you have a good relationship with dealers in the area. When you go in for just some, if you want to get an oil change or anything, catch any flack over it, or are they just happy to work with it?
I had my 500-mile service done here without a problem, and then I had my 7,000 or 5,000-mile service done, and they installed the alarm system for me. And I guess as long as they're making money on the work that they do afterwards, they're fine with it.
Now, is this your first bike that you purchased that is a white color?
Yes, it is.
Now, are there any negatives to owning a white versus a black or darker color bike?
No, I like the white. I originally wanted a black, and I'm kind of glad I didn't get one. It's a little, especially with the clear coat on these here bikes, they scratch really easily, and the white doesn't show the dirt. I try to keep it clean, but it doesn't show the dirt, it doesn't show the scratches. So
you don't see the swirl marks from that a black
marks, right?
Well, anyway, it's a gorgeous bike, and when I'm going to tell you, every time I come over here to Canada, or any of the VOG meetups, the few that we have, it's such a pleasure to meet the members. I mean, we had an opportunity to get together at Bobby G's house last night.
Oh, it was great.
Casual, have a couple beers, and we got to see the new style Victory cooler.
Yeah, well, I think there's probably a big market for that.
I tell you, I think it's one of the coolest things. Now, granted, I think the price is a little high, $1,400 for a cooler.
Yeah, you can get a Harley one for an awful lot less, from what I understand.
Yeah, but the Victory one uses less oil, right?
That's true.
Okay. That's true. Victorious, it's my pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. For the Vog.net, I'm the Gadget Guru, Andy Parr, and I'll see you on the road and online.